Tonight on Dispatches, the new face of the far right. His party claims to have shed its fascist past. Now it's winning unprecedented support. But what does the rising star of the British National Party really think? April 2002, one of my first encounters with Mark Collett, leader of the young British National Party. Over the next 6 months, I would get to know him intimately.
Don't film me eating.
In a party notoriously wary of the media, Mark has agreed to let me follow him. Which ward is this we're going to?
This is Eccles Hill Ward.
It's a few days before local elections. As one of the party's best and brightest, Mark's busy helping local branches with their campaigns. Today, he's leading a team of canvassers on the Ravenscliffe estate in Bradford.
If anyone says they're not voting to you, though, ask why. If the answer is all political parties are the same and they've let you down, then simply say to them, we're different, and explain the differences that the BNP will give to them and that we actually do care for local people rather than wanting to give all our money to the Asians.
A final year student at Leeds University, Mark's tipped as a future BNP leader. He's educated, telegenic, articulate.
Basically, the British National Party want to put people like you first. They want to put British people on Ravenscliffe estate first. Regenerate the houses, make sure pensioners get the right care they deserve, and turn this area into the proud area it once was.
Will you vote for us on May the 2nd, this coming Thursday? You will? Nice one. Thank you very much.
The BNP has ditched the street-fighting tactics of the old far right, turning to conventional politics to promote its message, putting whites first.
Another yes? Think we can rely on your vote on Thursday? Yeah. It's fantastic, thanks a lot.
We are the voice of the white population in areas all over the country, just like this. And as you heard time and time again tonight, people are like, you're the first political party that's come here and spoke to us and cared for us. All the others have gone to the Muslim areas and asked them what they think, but no one comes up here and speaks to us. Is that right? Brilliant. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Who hasn't got the railing?
One of the most positive responses Mark got was from Jeff Grice.
Mad. It is the amount of houses that are around here that are empty, and the amount of people homeless. There's English people that are homeless, living on the streets, and with homes like that, and they're giving £70 million away to people that don't come from this country.
Ridiculous,
that annoys me.
Right.
It does annoy me.
Do you think we'll be able to rely on your vote?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
See you on May the 2nd. Thanks.
Later, I went back to see Jeff. He's 25, unemployed, and has lived on the estate with his mother all his life.
Why was it you thought the BNP was sort of talking sense to you?
Because why should bloody parties get money all sodding time for their bloody kids and we get sod all for ours?
If Pakis or Indians or whatever they want to call themselves, they want some money, they can go down at the social and they'll get money. Because if the social say no, they just shout racial discrimination, and they're quite happy just to sling money at them all day long. It makes you sick just when you just go out in your car and you just see them, they're too sly and they're dirty and devious. They really are. They'll bend stuff to suit themselves.
On election day itself, Mark's campaigning in his own ward, Hare Hills in Leeds.
Vote for the BNP. The British National Party are standing in the local elections. Mark Collett is your local candidate for the Hare Hills ward local elections.
With its ethnically mixed population, Mark knows his chances are limited.
We'll probably beat the Greens and the Tories, I hope, but hopefully the local whites will do the right thing and come and vote Collett. Lie after lie after lie.
Right, we'll see you later.
How hysterical.
So where's you? On there?
Just had a text actually saying I look quite cute from someone. Yeah, I've seen on the front page of paper and you look cute.
At 10 o'clock, Mark arrived at Leeds Town Hall for his count. The party had 68 candidates standing across England. And that night, the BNP took its most significant step toward power ever. Over in Burnley, 3 council seats were won by this party, whose ultimate aim is an all-white Britain.
Declaration of the result of the election for the Hare Hills Board. For Javad Akhtar, Liberal Democrats, 2,184. For Mark Adrian Collett, British National Party, 209.
Mark didn't come close to winning his seat.
We easily beat the Tories.
But he was putting a politician's spin on the result.
I couldn't be happier. For the first time I ever stood, you know what I mean, to come third and beat two established parties into fourth and fifth.
Nazi scum, off our street. Nazi scum.
There's a lot of you tonight, mate.
Nazi scum, off our street. Nazi scum.
Outside, I was to see a different side to Mark. Martin, who provides security, wants a quick getaway.
Where's the van? It's on its way, mate.
But Mark's enjoying his moment.
Got it!
Don't take pictures of us! I could do this all night.
Holocaust denier! Jew hater! Holocaust denier! Jew hater! You're a Nazi!
In!
Come on, take him. Come on, get him, mate. Get him.
Your orders are to retreat.
Throughout his election campaign, I'd been getting to know Mark, the young politician, but what I'd seen on the steps of the town hall made me wonder who he really was.
A lot of people, I think, would be quite disturbed at being the target of so much hatred.
What, do you think I enjoy it?
I don't know, there seemed to be, yeah, I think he did enjoy it a bit. But they really hate you, don't they?
Oh, they do. But as you saw, you know, they are quite strange people, you know, so I'm not too really bothered. This Confronting BNP candidate Mark Collett squares up to protesters outside Leeds Town Hall. That is quite a good picture, actually, isn't it? What do you think to the picture?
Yeah, very good.
That picture, though, I've looked at the picture, mate. That is it. I just look like I'm really dealing with those protesters there. It looks so good.
Mark appeared to think a lot about looking good.
Do I look big enough to be lifting weights?
Yeah, you do. From here you look very big, Mark.
4 times a week, he worked out in his basement. He was keen for me to film him. By now, Mark had begun to talk more intimately to me. He was seeing a woman he was very fond of, but she was unhappy about his membership of the BNP.
If it came to it, and you had to choose between her and your relationship with the BNP, what would you choose?
Oh, that's basically, if she can't deal with the fact that I'm in the BNP, if she can't deal with the fact of who I am and what my beliefs are, then that says she's a pretty shallow person who's looking simply at the side of life that the media throws up. She's not really looking at me as the whole package. She's taking one thing and blowing it all out of proportion. I think if that was the case, really it'd be an issue with her, not with me.
So the BNP would win in that case?
It's not about winning and losing. It's about, you know, my life's taken a certain path, and people can either accept it or not.
He seemed almost convincing, but I wondered if making that choice was really going to be so easy. early summer, the World Cup was at its height. We went to a local pub to watch England play Denmark. Mark wanted to be seen as an ordinary bloke, watching the footy and having a beer. He may have felt at home among the painted faces and patriotic chants. But no one here supports the BNP. Except for Mark and a handful of his mates. But Mark is always on the lookout for possible converts.
6% of Britain is non-white on this side. We are the majority, but that will change. Sooner or later, we're going to be a minority in our own country. There's no way it happens.
I reckon in 20 years' time, we're going to be a minority.
Well, basically, the BNP is just like, what we say is like, vote for us, and we're like the voice of Britain, we're like the voice of working people like yourself.
Mark clearly enjoyed being filmed, but I'd been aware for some time that there were things he'd say only when he thought the camera was off. As the match went on, he began to confide in me. This time, I decided to leave the camera running.
We're like grains of sand on a beach, Your soul is like a grain of sand, And there's certain grains of sand that aren't grains, they're rocks. Does it have a star in it or whatever, so it never gets swept away. And their souls are only kept alive by one thing, and that's other souls remembering them, other souls worshipping them. Hitler's still alive, Ray. So's Stalin, so's Churchill. Hitler will live on forever. I mean, maybe I will.
Mark's comments in the pub raised more questions about his true beliefs.
Such a mess. Such a mess.
So when I went to see him a week later, I arrived with the camera rolling.
I've not had a chance to clean up.
Almost immediately, Mark began to talk candidly. His views were so distorted, I wasn't sure how to react.
Say that though, black men are, what is it? It's like 60 times more likely to have AIDS than a white man.
Really?
Their genes, by nature, are more sort of promiscuous. I mean, I remember at the time when AIDS first came out, my dad said it. He said at the time they should have just got the first couple of weeks with AIDS, dragged them off hospital, bullet in the head and just forgotten about it. But at the time it was like, oh no, you got to treat them as human beings. Blacks, drug users and gays all have it. So really, I've got no problem with AIDS. But I would call it a friendly disease.
Back on camera, things were very different.
You getting the music?
Yeah, what music is that?
This is a band called Shutdown. Everyone cuts themselves at least once when they're shaving, but I realise that I will look quite good if I manage to avoid that. I don't think really I've lost sort of like who I am in like the politics at all. But I'm not big-headed with it. I'm not like not those footballers and people like that.
Yeah.
You get like a second division nobody footballer, and he thinks he's the boy and swaggers around and like twats people in town and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not really become a or anything. You got.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
Do you reckon the comedy Homer Simpson boxers are the ones for today? Is it that kind of day?
It is, yeah.
It's not a day for the serious silk boxer shorts, is it?
No, I think it's a Homer Simpson type day.
Do I get a shot of my body as I drop the town?
Go on then, yeah.
No! Why did you go away?
I was getting a sense of Mark's private theories on race. But I wondered, if pushed on camera, how explicit he would be.
Well, white people, across the ages, for 40,000 years, different races lived in virtual isolation around the planet. In those 40,000 years, some races went on, well, the white race went on to create civilization, beauty, poetry, music, paintings, all of such wondrous artistic merit.
I'm not sure quite how you would break up the definition of white race.
Well, basically, it's like this. Across Europe, there were small variations in culture. Like Germans have slightly similar national dress, French do as well, slightly different food. Like we have more potato-based meals where the French have pasta-based. And so do the Italians.
Right.
In France and Italy, there's a lot more pasta-based dishes, isn't there?
Sure. So if there's a wave of French and Italian immigration into Britain?
Well, the thing is, there isn't really waves of white immigration. Whites tend to stay more or less put, and they have done for the past 1,000 to 2,000 years, other than, say, like Roman Empire and stuff like that. But mainly, they've stayed more or less put.
So where do Jews fit into this?
Oh, wow, whacking the usual questions, get the Jews in there.
No, but I mean, it's... I genuinely intended not to ask it because I know you get asked it all the time. But
this is a boring question. Do I really have to answer this?
You do, because they tend...
Well, Jews classify themselves as a race of people.
But they're white.
Well,
primarily.
Jews actually... The Jewish community classes themselves as a race. Jews are slightly darker skin tone than whites, slightly sort of... They range sort of slightly lighter than Arabs, but not usually as white as light skin colour. There's many different facial definitions.
Differences.
Differences to define them away from, say, a traditionally Western European look.
Right. Okay. And that's recognisable.
I think it's highly recognisable for people who are generally Jewish of racial descent. Yes.
Right.
People like me. I'm Jewish by racial descent, but Mark hadn't realised.
Your bedroom's nice and tidy.
July, and Mark's parents have arrived in Leeds for his graduation ceremony.
So, this is the day I've waited for since you was 11 weeks old. Mark.
Don't film now.
Oh, go on, it's nice.
They're not dressed smart enough.
I don't believe he's saying that about me. I'm not dressed smart enough.
Knowing they were close, I'd been keen to meet them. And they, it seemed, were keen to make me one of the family.
Oh, right.
So he's Uncle David today.
I was going to say...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But he does look quite like me.
Yeah.
He does, actually. There's a similarity with the nose, isn't there?
Oh, shut up.
Actually, it does say...
There is actually, David.
On campus at least 1.5 hours before your ceremony is due to commence. Mark.
You were saying that this has been a dream of yours or something?
Yes, it has been a dream of mine ever since he was 11 weeks old.
Really? What happened at 11 weeks old? Why 11 weeks old?
Well, I telephoned the local prep school.
Oh, really?
And put his name down at the prep school, and that was the start of it, really. And it was my dream, yeah, definitely.
So you're excited?
Am I excited?
Yeah.
Yes, excited and proud. Let me look at you. You look
We're
wonderful.
to tie knot, is that okay?
Yeah, it's lovely, darling.
Okay. Let the day of family fun commence. Yeah, I've got a couple of minutes. Yeah.
On the way to the university, Mark gave an impromptu newspaper interview.
Are you doing an article about me? Good. The white people across Europe are all being put down, and they're all being betrayed by the same kind of breed of politicians who all stick.
It just goes into his other mode when, like, he's on to his party bit now, isn't it? And it's not always we see that side of it.
Basically, not even enough people turned up to make the meeting court, so they had to hold it again. But there's plenty for a load of scavenging asylum seekers.
I have occasionally when he's been at home
during
the
Sunday
holidays.
Times.
Oh.
Left-wing Mark.
What's that?
He says it's the Sunday Times. I mean, it's another left-wing paper, isn't it? The Times.
Hello, it's me.
After collecting his 2-2 in business economics, Mark joined his peers for a class photo. He'd achieved notoriety on campus after surviving a campaign to expel him, but But watching him on his last day, it seemed that he'd won few friends here.
Not all parents see their dreams come true in their children, do they? So I just think I'm so lucky.
But I think there are a lot of parents, that agree with you that it would be a dream to see their child go to university, but they may feel very uncomfortable about them working for the British National Party.
I'm not uncomfortable with it. I sometimes feel worried for Mark. Well, I think the British National Party are misunderstood.
They've been painted black all of the time. The majority of things that the BNP talk about, the general public, I meet a lot of people, all say exactly the same thing, but they say it behind closed doors. I would say we're probably middle to probably middle of the road to a little bit right wing, but not massively right wing, are we?
Well, I would say we fall very heavily into the silent majority category.
Yes, we do, don't we? That is absolutely brassed off with what's going on today, but
feel helpless.
But
keep paying for it all.
The British National Party's philosophy is considered by a lot of people to be a racist philosophy.
Is considered by a lot of people,
Yeah.
and that's precisely it. Is considered.
But can anybody give us any conclusive evidence that there's racist overtones there, or that there's any racist agenda there?
Well, I mean, their stated aim is that they'd like an all-white society.
Come on, you buggers, don't let me down now. Okay, that's fine. Thank you,
Mark walked away from student life and straight into the arms of the party. Within weeks, he was on the payroll, working for the BNP full-time.
Organisation is key, David.
As well as running the youth wing, Mark's on the BNP's advisory council, deciding party policy. He's also producing local leaflets and organising the Bradford operation.
If people want the BNP pens, get them now while you still can. Have a nice day.
But Mark's new relationship with the party has come at a price.
There you go, love. Have a nice day. Sun's just come out for you.
That girlfriend he was so fond of doesn't want to see him anymore.
Did you love her?
Did I love her? No. Well, can we not just... She gave me a choice. She was like, leave the BNP for me, basically, and we'll, be together. No way. You know what I mean? If I respect somebody, there's no way I'm going to leave what I love and what I believe in for them. If I did leave the BNP, how many people would be let down? Just to iterate, I'd never leave the BNP for anyone ever. I'd never even contemplate it.
Mm.
If she took a look at her life and started acting in a sensible, normal way, I think, she would be a very nice girl.
Can you not think that she maybe thought exactly the same about you?
No.
As well as taking on new party responsibilities, Mark's moving house. The BNP will be paying the rent. His new home is in a better part of Leeds, where there seems to be a strong sense of community.
Feel that? There's absolutely no way you can sledgehammer that door. I'm seeing big widescreen TV there. This room, study. The double bed in the top room is really nice.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to be my love nest. Original Star Wars trilogy around there, what do you reckon? Oh, gross, it's got mould in the fridge.
I think it's quite nice. It feels more of a community around here than where you are at the moment.
Yeah, maybe so, but not a white community.
Mark seemed prepared to tolerate the diversity of his new neighbourhood. But that night, while out drinking, something happened that he found harder to swallow. I went to talk to him the following morning.
There were a couple of things that upset you last night, weren't there? Well, there were those two girls we were talking to.
Oh, it's just you see a nice fit blonde bird getting off with a big black guy, you think he's stupid little white slut. That's what I think. It's like a fad, they think it's cool. To them it's an accessory, like a Gucci bag. I just think, you brain dead white slag.
But don't you think she just found him attractive?
The particular one we're talking about was a particularly repugnant black, I thought. No, you see, no, I failed to see what anyone could find attractive about him. I really do, it bemuses me. It really does bemuse me. Oh God, I could do with a couple of extra hours in bed this morning. After a manly bonding session and some drinks, the Channel 4 news team move on. That was my newscaster voice.
That was very good. Do some of your other impressions then.
I do my Alan Partridge, that's my... but I have to think of a great Partridge. I like the one where he's walking down the street singing Goldfinger, that's my good. Goldfinger. No, I'm not going to do it.
Go on.
No. I don't do any of my Partridges. Goldfinger. He's the man with the mightiest, a spider's touch.
Mark and I shared an affection for Steve Coogan, but later in the drive he began discussing another of his heroes.
I'd love to meet Johnny Adair though. I'd really like to meet him.
Johnny Adair, otherwise known as Mad Dog, is Belfast's leading loyalist paramilitary, convicted for directing terrorism.
Why not?
Mark saw parallels between Northern Ireland and Northern England.
Do you really think bits of Oldham and Bradford could become like that?
Yeah, definitely. I just think there will be. I think there's going to be a lot of bloodshed, to be honest. It's going to be a big mess. Asian gangs are attacking white lads and driving them out, but it's only so much will the white community take. And with the economic slump coming as well, when it all hits, there will be militant gangs of lads formed around people like me, and then I will eventually become, in essence, not a Johnny Adair or Billy Wright maybe, but I will become leaders that people will cluster around in those areas, and people will, fight alongside me. Hiya, Nick. How's it going?
Mark's unguarded disclosures were becoming more frequent, and in the days to come, they would become even more extreme. A lot of Mark Collett's time is now spent shuttling around Yorkshire, visiting British National Party branches. It was on these long drives, when Mark believed the camera was off, that I'd been getting real insights into his beliefs. On one trip, he started talking about Hitler's Germany.
National Socialism was the best solution for German people back in the 1930s. It's not the solution for British people in 2002. When people say, do you take any inspiration from that? I mean, I honestly can't understand how a man, who's seen the inner city hell of Britain today, can't look back on that era with a certain nostalgia and think, yeah, those people marching through the streets and all those happy people out in the streets, saluting and everything was a bad thing. I honestly can't see how anyone can look round on this on this nightmarish society in places like Bradford, Birmingham, and think, Germany in the 1930s was worse than that, because it wasn't, was it? Honestly though, would you prefer your kid growing up in Oldham and Burnley or 1930s Germany?
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people say that it was fine as long as you weren't Jewish then, in Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah, well, fair enough, but from my point of view, and it must be from your point of view, it would be better for your child to grow up there, wouldn't it? Yeah. And we all know that the Jews had given the German people a bit of a whipping, and one of the thorns that people felt were in their sides. And look, I'm going to level with you. I'll never say this on camera, yeah? And you can say this to whoever you want, because it's true. The Jews have been thrown out of every country, including England. There's not a single European country the Jews have not been thrown out of. And let's face it, David, when it happens that many times, it's not just persecution, There's no smoke without fire.
August, and Mark has joined in the preparations for the party's biggest annual get-together, the Red, White and Blue Festival, being held in Lancashire, its new heartland.
Can you do that? See you later, mate. Oiling the Nazi machine.
Several hundred of the faithful are expected for this celebration of British culture.
When I was told I was going to work for a political party, I didn't expect making urinals to be on the job list.
Site foreman is the party's leader, Nick Griffin.
Put it part way up on the stakes.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, you know, to there.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
shy people are. Okay. Mark is one of nature's live wires. He throws out more ideas than we can cope with at any one time.
Yeah, can you stop chucking the stakes in the shit?
Sorry.
Any movement which has got conviction in the cause attracts people who are like-minded. He's got the potential to be one of the very, very top.
In sort of the future, what do you see his contribution to the party developing into?
I don't know. I suppose sometime down the line in 10 or 15 years' time, with luck, I can retire and he can take over. Some people are it's like a comet that does a huge amount and is very visible for a year or so. Other people are still here in 20 years' time. I have a hunch that Mark will still be here in 20 years' time.
After helping with the preparations for Red, White and Blue, Mark treated me to a preview of his latest marketing idea, CDs of his own ideological speeches. His first work is in story form.
Hello. Our tale begins. A young man by the name of Tim awoke one morning, and as he watched the morning news...
Tim's a student who's told he's sick. He paid a visit to an evil doctor called Goldfinch, who just prescribed mysterious blue pills that made Tim feel worse.
Goldfinch's greedy dark eyes stared intently at it. But this was a check from the company that made the blue pills.
Finally, Mark's analogy became clear.
Today in Britain, and all over the white nations of the world, millions of people are asking, why multiculturalism? Just like Tim asked, why the blue pills?
A kid could understand that, couldn't they? I mean, you give that thing to a 12-year-old child and they could draw the conclusion from it. But you can also give it to a seasoned activist or a new activist or an intelligent person, and they'd be able to gain something from it too. What a beautiful day.
Part rally, part summer camp, Red, White and Blue kicks off in high spirits.
You go down like a sack of shit stuff.
Mark's brought his new girlfriend, Sue.
Where's Sue gone? Sue, have you seen my black t-shirt?
He's also brought a job lot of his new CDs, but they're not selling well.
Thanks for that, Bob.
Fortunately, he's got some support from Amy, his sister.
I got the looks, he got the brain.
She's taken over the marketing.
Go on, I'll buy one, mate. I won't be a mean.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, cheers. Watch your backs. Just come right in.
The Anti-Nazi League is here too, doggedly trying to unmask its adversaries. While the BNP claims to have ditched its pro-Nazi image, the protesters say the transformation is barely even cosmetic. And if you know what to look for, there are coded displays of the party's true affections.
That's small, yeah.
The Odal rune, chosen by Mark as the logo for the young BNP, was adopted by sections of the SS. As was the Laban rune, seen here on Sadie's t-shirt. They appear to be innocuous, but on Starkey's shirt, 8 stands for the 8th letter of the alphabet. HH, Heil Hitler. Other signs are more obvious. Inside the big top, party members settle down for an afternoon of political speeches. Mark was supposed to be first up, but he's having a last-minute wobble.
I can't open a meeting when I haven't even written a speech.
No, OK.
I've got a sore throat, I'm debating whether to even speak or not, because I can barely talk.
Well, I'll put you on a bit later.
Oh, I feel sick.
I'd like to introduce the man who runs the young BNP, Mark Collett.
A young girl tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around and looked at this creature, a dreadlocked white slag, who called... And she said, I was a Nazi and I was motivated by hate. I said, I'm not motivated by hate, I'm motivated by love. Love for my culture, my heritage, and my race. And she said, white people don't have culture. She said, white people don't have a history. We've stolen it all from the non-whites. And she told me she had a non-white boyfriend. And him and his kind, they're enriching this country. And I'll tell you one thing. Over 40,000 years, her boyfriend and his kind have achieved the same level of culture that our ancestors had when we shared this country with the woolly mammoth.
It puts the great back in Great Britain. Thank you.
It turns out that Mark had little to worry about. The rabid nature of his speech was always going to make it a crowd pleaser.
But you've got a bad throat.
Good speech, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
Not been any more right with that one.
Cheers.
The BNP, Nick Griffin's nationalist army, now believes it's marching towards power, inspired by its electoral success. But to me, this organisation is no army, or even really a political party, more a fundamentalist movement, a cult. And within it, the followers, isolated from the rest of society, find a real sense of belonging.
Tony Blair arriving to face the press.
At his parents' home, Mark is waiting to see himself on TV. His latest project, a poster campaign aimed at school children, has provoked a flurry of media interest. His sister Amy has been criticised by her friends because of her involvement with the BNP.
You're a peripheral character, Amy.
But I don't want to be on film. No, I don't, because if it gets back...
To where? You already got it, Amy. Said
back to where? Because people then will think that I'm one of Mark, and I'm not. No, they can't. Yeah, they can think that. Yeah, but it's really difficult to change people's perception, isn't it? Once you do something wrong, once it does something they don't like.
Then it's their fault. They have the problem, not you.
1 minute you're happy to be BNP, the next minute you're not.
No, she's never been BNP.
Amy, you have. You will.
Yeah, I involved myself to support you.
Amy, this is not the time or the place to be doing all this, is it?
No.
So shut
And
it.
if you don't want to be filmed, Amy, then you have to go out the room. It's that's you know, it's as simple as that. You know, you've obviously got.
Struggling to vet thousands of applications.
But anyway, I'm a bit nervous because I'm about to be on Channel 4.
Back to school before checks are complete. The British National Party has been criticised after launching a competition for kids to design posters showing whites as the main victims of racist attacks.
We're trying to highlight that the media covers up racist attacks against whites, and this poster simply states that racism cuts both ways and that it does affect white people as well.
Mark's always been adored within his family. But when his close relationships conflict with his beliefs, he gets angry and feels betrayed.
Fuck you, fuck it.
And this anger appears to have no limits. In his car, Mark suddenly started talking about that ex-girlfriend.
I like to break people. It's good when you've got somebody, when you've broken, when you've sucked the last bit of life out of them. That's it. Never crush her, because that doesn't hurt the most. Just everything that she cares about, everything dear to her is crushed. In a very realistic way, when people say I am evil, you know what I mean? Yeah, I am. But it all depends. I'm either the sweetest angel or the most evil demon you've ever encountered. It just depends what you decide to push me. Never kill people, push them to the point of despair where they do it themselves. So that's when you've really won. When you've broken them down to the final level when there's nothing worth living for, and they do it themselves, there's no blood on your hands then. You just won.
Hey, London Zoo's over there, mate!
Fucking bastards! Keep going, keep moving, please, gents, keep moving! You fucking scum!
On September the 11th, Mark led a demonstration outside a London mosque. An Islamic conference was being held to mark the terrorist attacks on America.
We're not doing anything radical, we're not causing trouble, we're not trying to cause a stir. We're simply here making a protest against something I think most of the British people would find sick and offensive.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We're remembering our day today and we got to put up with that. Get them out! Fucking brave, aren't they? Wrapped round with their little rags round their head, aren't they? Yeah, fuck off! Go back your own country!
Well, we're here to show our opposition against Bush and Blair's war, which is going to cost British soldiers' lives.
Members of the National Front, another far-right party, arrived. The mood became more ugly, but Mark seemed in his element.
I call on the members of ADO! Waterson, you're a freak! You haven't even got an opinion!
Quite funny they're chatting black and white unite and fight, since they're all white over there. Yeah, you don't see the Muslims in the mosque jumping in with them, do you? Race traitors.
This was the old far right in action. But I could see little difference between Mark's repackaged BNP and the neo-Nazi NF. I knew there were at least Nazi sympathies within the BNP, and I had evidence on tape. For months I'd let Mark's views go unchallenged, knowing that a confrontation would jeopardise our relationship. So I went back to see him for what would be our last encounter.
I don't really have any affection for Hitler at all. I mean, you can say I do. There's no Nazi paraphernalia around my house.
It's not to do with Nazi paraphernalia around your house. It's to do with the things you've said to me.
Well, you know, we can say that I've said things and I can deny them, but which I'm sure we can go into. But I have no great affection for Hitler or the Third Reich.
You have told me that Hitler's Germany, 1930s Germany, was a better place to bring up children than Oldham is in 2002. You've told me that you can't understand how, when people look at the Nazis marching and saluting in the street, they can fail to be inspired and feel a sense of nostalgia for that. And that National Socialism was the best solution for Germany in the 30s.
When did I say these things? Have you got any evidence of me saying these things?
You said these things to me in your car on a trip to Bradford.
Did I say these things? Where's your evidence of saying these things?
Mark, don't...
Where is your evidence of...
Mark, why do you think I remember these things so well?
Well, you can say anyone said things like this, but without evidence, how can we?
Okay, if I had evidence of you having said that, would this change the conversation?
If you had evidence of me saying that, then obviously I would have said it.
Okay, Mark, you said it, and it was all recorded.
Really?
Yes.
Well, can you leave my house, please? I don't know what to say. You've betrayed me. You know what I mean? We were talking personally about things, and I was talking about... You know what I mean?
Mark, as a journalist, I have a responsibility to report what I find. And what I found in you was somebody who was a very deep and complex character that had a real affection for Nazis.
Can I answer this in a minute? Can we take this off and answer it in a minute? I've got to David, after all we've done together, can we? After all we've done together, can we stop that playing?
No, I can't stop. I'm sorry, I can't stop it filming.
I've got a.
There's a few other things which I want to talk to you about as well.
What, that's been said or done?
That's been said and done, yeah.
And you recorded everything?
I haven't recorded everything, no, but I've recorded quite a lot of things.
Can we turn it off?
I can't turn it off, no.
Can you just for 5 minutes?
No.
I just want to say a couple of things to you.
Okay, well, let's finish the
I'm just going to ring Nick and quit from the party. I'm just going to quit my role in the party. Nick, can you turn that off while I do that?
Well, maybe we'll finish the interview and then you should do that, Mark.
When Mark came back, he insisted I turn the camera off.
Can you just turn it off for 5 minutes while I just say some things I've got to say to you?
We talked for more than an hour. Eventually, he agreed to continue the interview.
Start with the questions about... I'm going to answer all your questions honestly now.
Are you?
You want to... You scrap... You what was on that tape, yeah? The shock and everything. Let's scrap that and let's get on with it, answering this properly.
Okay, well... Start with telling me about your affection for Nazi Germany then.
You're referring to what I said in the car. I'm not a Nazi, but if you want to call me a Nazi sympathiser, you can. You said the things I said to you then disgusted you. And you quoted me as saying, I'd rather have lived in the 1930s than I would in Oldham. Yeah, that might disgust some people. You go to Oldham.
Mark.
You go to a place...
There are millions of people being exterminated in Oldham.
White people in Oldham are being...
There are not millions of people being exterminated in Oldham.
Look, we, or people like me, or young people, or the people you saw with tattoos on, or the people you saw with wacky shirts on, they feel an affinity for something because they feel totally betrayed and they feel that white people are being sold out today. And the only person they're told in the history books that ever stuck up for white people was Hitler.
We've been together since February. Okay, I'm Jewish by racial descent. The answer to whether or not I'd rather have my children growing up in Germany in the 1930s is that my children would have been killed in Germany in the 1930s.
Well, I had an inkling that you were a Jew, but you told me that you weren't, so I trusted you.
Well, you know, by Jewish law I'm not, but by racial descent I am.
Well...
You know, you've also said that you and I look very alike.
I'm not Jewish.
No, but can you not see the irony there? I mean, my skin is as white as yours. You've seen me all this time as white person, now do you see me as not white?
Got a nice big smile, young man. Yeah, that didn't hurt, did it?
Yeah, Mark.
Mark told me his resignation was refused. His position is now on hold.
Let's watch the anti-Nazi League go up in flames.
We invited the British National Party to respond to the views Mark had revealed.
You ain't cold anymore, are you?
It said that to portray his views as representative of the BNP was thoroughly dishonest, adding that it was opposed to Nazism and would discipline any member who advocated it. The BNP has big ambitions to win more council seats and eventually to enter the European Parliament. Mark Collett was to be a big part of those plans.